I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
Did you know that woman means a woe unto men? That's what woman means. A woe unto men, an issue to men, a negative to men. That's what someone tried to prove here in the cigar lounge the other day. And oh my, did I had to come to the edge of my seat. This person's statements reminded me of the idea of the quote, "To those my equal I debate, to others I teach." I don't know if this is part of the quote, but I'm going to add it. "And to foolishness I am silent." The Hermetic axiom says that the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding, meaning that when someone cannot understand, you remain silent. At a certain point, I just had to remain silent. This gentleman was describing women as to say that they are a negative to men, that in every case in point of the Bible, women have been a negative to men, and he focused in on that. He had some validity to be able to utilize that. But before we go there, let's look at the etymology of the word woman. Woman is an Old English word. It is not a Hebraic word. It's an Old English word. Therefore, to equate women to the woe of men based on stories of the Bible is just your toxic masculinity, your patriarchal system, trying to take a word that you do not understand, but make it into what you want it to be. Because we have the word woe, W-O-E, which means a hardship, a suffering. And then you have man, which is man, the masculine. He tried to make that fit. Another person said, well, I thought it meant womb man, because a woman has a womb. Well, that also is a popular misconception. It has nothing to do with the womb. The Old English word woman means wife of a man. It's the combination of the word wife and man. It was weefman. It was werefman, werewolfman. It has had many connotations as it moved from Old English to New English to what we speak today. But it generally meant two different things: an adult female, or it meant a wife of a husband. It has never meant the woe unto man. The reason why woman is in your King James, your English translations, is because Adam had Eve. Adam was, well, the rib was taken out of Adam, and Eve became his wife. And so she was called woman. Now, Adam was actually saying that because she came from man, she will be called woman. But that over thousands of years becomes the wife of man, the wife of Adam. Adam meaning ruddy man. But even though I explained that, the gentleman still goes off on his tangents. Well, Eve ate the forbidden fruit, but Eve gave it to Adam, and Adam willfully ate it, even though he knew that he was not supposed to. He did not say, no, we are not supposed to eat from that fruit, that tree. You've been beguiled. You've disobeyed God. We're going to take this up with God, but I will not join you in your deceitfulness, in your, not deceitfulness, that's not the word I was looking for, but I would not join you in breaking this law, this one rule that we had. No, he went right along with it. And as I've said in many other videos, because Pum Pum. Pum Pum is undefeated. Is that the woman's fault? No. Does that make women woeful to men? No. That made Adam weak. That's what it made him. It made him weak. Goddamn Delta male. It made him weak. He later tried to talk about Samson and Delilah. Samson's parents tried to get him to marry a woman of their own clan. But he wanted that Philistine woman. Because that Philistine woman had that good pum pum. I did a video about Samson some years back. But he wanted that good pum pum. The Philistine pum pum. She lied to him lied to him. Oh, where you get your strength? He lies. Well, she didn't lie to him. They were both lying to each other. Oh, it comes from me. Bind me with some rope. Oh, you got to bind me in some new rope, some old rope. You got to do this, you got to do that. And then he finally told her the truth. And this woman proved herself to not be a trustworthy person. But yet he kept going back to the well because she got that good pum pum. Was she the downfall, or was his judgment the downfall? Was that pum pum the downfall? And this gentleman, he wanted to point out other people where it was an issue. Job's wife, you should just curse God and die. She ain't had nothing to do with all that. That was a bet between this God and the Satan, the adversary, the prosecutor. Had nothing to do with that. Sarah wasn't patient and had him sleep with Hagar. Yeah, the same man that pimped out his wife 2 times to the Pharaoh and to Amalek in order to get some gold and stuff. First time was just strictly safe. Like, I don't think he knew he was going to get the gold. Second time, pimp move. But you want to blame the man. You want to blame a woman for the downfall of a man. Was not Mary Magdalene Jesus' tried and true ride or die? Always there to the very end? Did not they come stay at Martha's house and she took care of them, made sure everything was square? What did Bathsheba do so wrong but take a bath and then had to give herself to the king? What about Esther? After fumigating herself, she had her one night with the king and saved the Hebrew people, according to these stories. For every story that he can point to where a woman brought down the downfall of a man, I pointed to a story where a woman did something good in the Bible. Because I wanted to keep it within the realm of his own belief, not my own, but within the realm of his own belief. But I saw that it became a circle debate and that I was speaking to someone who lacked the comprehension to recognize information that was true versus what he wanted to perceive. And I began to realize that this man has issues with women. He has issues with women. And so I became silent. And that's what I advise you guys to always do. When someone shows that they have a high degree of cognitive dissonance, when someone shows that they are going to stick to their narrative, regardless of what you present to them, leave them be. Don't continue. It will just create struggle, and it's not worth your time. Time is the only thing we cannot get back right now. We can't reverse the time. At least I haven't figured it out. We can. I just haven't figured it out yet. Put it that way. But it is not something that needed to be argued, even once showing that the woman is not the woe of man. Matter of fact, for the majority of history, when you find a man who is achieving much, who is doing much, he usually has the support of a very strong woman beside him. He usually has the foundation of a home that is being properly ran by a good woman. Yes, and then the man ego takes over. He casts out the good woman and brings in something else. He goes for the pum pum more so than the characteristics of the woman that he's dealing with. He allows his ego to get inflated, or he's just a weak dude anyway, allowing himself to be controlled, allowing himself to be controlled by the whims of the woman, or being controlled by the conversations of his peers, other men, his friends, his family, allowing himself to become under the spell of that good pum pum. That is not the problem of the woman. That is the problem of the man. That is a man who is lacking in leadership skills. He is lacking in judgment. He is lacking in dedication. He is lacking in decisiveness. He is lacking in endurance and fortitude. He is lacking in integrity and honor. He is lacking in understanding and communication. He is lacking in many areas of leadership, which does not allow him to be a great man. It does not matter what religious connotation you're coming from. It does not matter what cultural or societal connotation you're coming from. The only thing that matters is the person, the inner man. That's what matters. The balance of the masculine and the discipline, the ability to communicate and ensure and take responsibility for your actions and the actions of those around you, and to know yourself and seek self-improvement. You see, as I go back to some of these stories, as I said before, Adam did not take responsibility for his actions, but yet blamed Eve for giving him the fruit as if he had no decision in the matter. And then she blamed the serpent. Where was his level of responsibility? When did he take responsibility? When Abraham went ahead and produced Ishmael with Hagar, he did this at the behest of his wife. Where was Abraham's dedication? Where was his patience to say that no? God has told us that this child would come through you, through your womb, not the womb of your slave, not the womb of your handmaid that we got from Egypt when I pimped you out as my sister. No, not from that, but from you. And we will be patient, and we will have the patience of Job, and we will wait and let the Lord do his work. But no, he gave in. Okay, Sarah, I'll sleep with this beautiful Egyptian. It's so tough and so rough. Oh my God, I don't think I can do it, but I'm going to do it. And he did it. Was that not Abraham's issue? Was that not Abraham's fault? Abraham didn't take the responsibility. Abraham didn't show the endurance or the fortitude. Abraham did not show the leadership. And so he went ahead and he faltered. Sarah was following the customs of their day. I don't believe that I'm going to produce a child, but a child produced between you and my handmaid, my slave, will be claimed as my child. But then when she had the baby, Sarah got in her feelings and she kicked out into the desert. And then this God made Hagar come back. And then when Sarah had Isaac, now she getting her feelings about money. And so she kicks her out in the desert again. And this time God said, don't go back. We're going to make you an oasis. And then we're going to spurn off a whole new religion. How is it it's a woman's fault for the lack of leadership and judgment of these men? That is not their fault. When you have a good woman, you recognize those kinds of things. When you have a good man, you recognize those kinds of things. You don't fall into the trap of saying that women are the woe of men. And this wordplay based on your understanding today. That's called presentism. But I like how Mr. Ragsdale made up the word historism. But technically it's called presentism. Is when you take your morality and thoughts of the day, your understanding of things today, and try to put it on people back in the day. You're trying to take woe and man and make that woman because of the way our speech patterns work today. And for the most part, It's because you have a negative image of women. You have a negative image of women because you've been around the wrong women, or no woman has put up with your bullshit. And so you just, instead of taking your own personal responsibility, you put it off on the woman. I'm perfect. I'm fine. I'm good. These women should be crawling and running and busting through my doors to be with me. So if things don't work out, it is her fault. If I suffer anything, it is her fault. If anything goes wrong, it is her fault, because I am perfection. That is this dude's mentality, which is why I had to fall silent. I had to fall silent. There were many other things that he continued to talk about, and I may say something here or there, but for the most part, I remained silent because it was not worth my energy. It was not worth my time. But I have a hard time when somebody states something that's scientifically incorrect or factually incorrect. It's very difficult for me to do that. So I too still have to work on that myself. I have to learn sometimes that it is best to become silent and allow the foolishness to be spoken. Especially when I recognize that other people in the room recognize that it was foolishness that was spoken. But for all you men out there who are saying that women are to be subjugated, women are beneath a man, women are the ills of man, sure, you can point to the fact that there are generals, that one in Germany, I don't want to get demonetized, that one in Germany, as long as he had Josephine, I think it was Josephine, he was fine. He was kicking ass. But then when he got rid of her and got the other one, then he lost. Or was that Napoleon and Josephine? I think that might have been Napoleon and Josephine. Napoleon was kicking ass with Josephine. Then when he got the other woman, he got his ass whooped. He put away the one that supported him and had his back. You can look at Alexander, and many believe that it was his wife, his mother, that messed things up. No, his mother died, and then he got all jacked up. But then there's also some stories about his wife, though he had got a new wife, and that jacked him up. You know, you can always find some story of some military person, some leader who had some person who was in business or athlete or entertainer, and they had a spouse. They had the good spouse, and then when they got big and they got egotistical, they got the bad spouse, and everything went downhill. You can, guys in here talk about sports a lot. Tiger Woods, when he was on top, then he got with the nanny, and now the girlfriend, and he just falling apart. You can find those things, but you know what else you can find? You can find your situations where people were able to be great because they had a great foundation, they had a great wife. I'm not a big proponent of the founding fathers of America, but George Washington had a good wife that was very supportive of everything that he was doing, which allowed him to go do what he needed to do. Denzel Washington has had a great wife that allows him to go and do what he does. President Ado, he's able to do what he does. Kagame does what he does. There are people throughout time and history, the whole story of Isis and Osiris allows for a beautiful couple who were able to get things done according to the stories. There are those stories, or there are many more situations. There are the unknown ones. There's that husband and there's that wife who have financially grown together, who have raised a family. Those kids have went out and been able to do greater things than the parents. That is the most amazing of the stories. Those are the ones we should be focused on. But there are many more of those than there are of people creating havoc. Somebody's going to say, well, the divorce rate is more than 50%. Recognize that a large percentage of those in that divorce rate are second time, third time marriages. They're all not fresh, new minted marriages. But the only thing that matters is who you are and matching up with someone who matches well with you, and then consistently and continuously growing together. Trying to use this Bible to regulate women, to suppress women, It's not valid. You're only really suppressing yourself and lowering your own levels of humanity. But even worse is that you're lowering your divinity. And your divinity is what you should be increasing in. And if you were increasing in your divinity, you will recognize, you'll be open to reading things like in the Gnostic writings, where it says that the disciples were complaining about Mary, and Yeshua said, I will make her just like you males. Not make her into a male, but just like you males, as far as respect, as far as regard, as far as consideration, as far as raising of the consciousness. Some of the other ones talk about how Mary Magdalene became the greatest of his disciples, was the one who was in charge of leading and growing the way. So, but recognizing that the male and the female, there's only a gender thing. Oh, the male is stronger, upper body. I want to see a dude push out a baby. See how you endure that. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. It is the balancing of the two that makes us into the greatest versions of ourselves and raises our consciousness to our true Godhead. So before you get into your patriarchy or your matriarchy, recognize that neither is greater than the other. So even the people say the woman is God. Show me a woman who can produce a baby without a male, then you got something. So the woman is not God either. We are gods. We are gods. Like in one of my favorite movies, we are Groot. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.